The first thing to realize is that the word artificial in the phrase artificial intelligence is real. And that's not due to me, it's due to one of the pioneers of the subject who happens to be a Christian. And the point is that, and we'll take a narrow AI system first because it's much easier to explain. A narrow AI system is a system involving a high-powered computer, a huge database, and an algorithm that does some picking and choosing, that whose output is something that it normally requires human intelligence to do. That is, if you look at the output, you would say normally that it's taken an intelligent person to do that. So let's take an example that is very important these days in medicine, and that's X-ray, interpreting X-rays. So we have a database. Let's say it has 1 million X-rays of lungs that are infected with various diseases, say related to COVID-19. They are then labeled in the database by the world's top experts. Then they take an X-ray of your lungs or my lungs, and the algorithm compares the X-ray of your lungs with the million very rapidly, and it produces an output which says John Anderson has got that disease. Now, at the moment, that kind of thing, which is being rolled out not only in radiology but all over the place, will generally give you a better result than your local hospital will. And that's hugely important and hugely valuable. But the point is, the machine is not intelligent. It's only doing what it's programmed to do. The database is not intelligence. The intelligence is the intelligence of the people that designed the computer, know about X-rays and know about medicine. But the output is what you would expect from an intelligent doctor. So it's in that sense artificial. It's a system narrow in the sense it only deals with one thing. And all kinds, endless kinds of systems are being rolled out around the world.
So let's come to AGI.
Yeah.
What is AGI? And because up until now, we're talking about intelligence that's not human. It can't make judgments. It can't switch tasks. Yes. It can't multitask. It can just be built up to do an enormous one thing, even though that might be massively intrusive, as we've talked about with surveillance technology.
Correct.
But now we're talking about something different altogether. General.
Yes,
artificial general intelligence means?
Well, it means several things. The rough idea is to have a system that can do everything and more that human intelligence can do. Do it better, do it faster, and so on. A kind of superhuman intelligence, which you could think of possibly as, at least in its initial stages, being built up out of a whole lot of separate narrow AI systems, building them up. And that will surely be done to a large extent. But research on AGI, and of course it's the stuff of dreams, it's the stuff of science fiction, so people absolutely love it. And interest in it moves in two very distinct directions. There's first of all the attempt to build machines to do it. That is, that are based on silicon, computer, plastic, metal, all that kind of stuff. And then there is the idea of taking existing human beings and enhancing them with bioengineering, drugs, all that kind of thing, even incorporating various aspects of technology so that you're making a cyborg, a cybernetic organism, a combination of biology and technology to move into the future so that we move beyond the human. And this is where the idea of transhumanism comes in. moving beyond the humans. And of course, the view is of many people that humans are just a stage in the gradual evolution of biological organisms that have developed according to no particular direction through the blind forces of nature. But now we have intelligence, so we can take that into our own hands and begin to reshape the generations to come and make them according to our specification. Now that raises huge questions. The first one is, of course, as to identity. What are these things going to be? And who am I in that kind of a situation? Now, AGI, I mentioned, is something that science fiction deals with a lot. The reason I take it seriously is it's not only science fiction writers that take it seriously. For example, one of our top scientists, possibly the top scientist, who is our astronomer royal, Lord Martin Rees, he takes this very seriously. He says in some generations hence, we might effectively merge with technology. Now, that idea of humans merging with technology is, again, very much in science fiction. But the fact that some scientists are taking it seriously means in the end that the general public are going to be filled with these ideas, speculative on the one hand, but serious scientists espousing them on the other, so that we need to be prepared and get people thinking about them, which is why I wrote my book. And in particular, in that book, I engaged not with a scientist, but with a historian, Yuval Noah Harari, an Israeli historian. Yuval Noah Harari, an Israeli historian.
Can I interrupt for a moment?
Yes, of course you can.
To quote something that he said,
yes,
just to frame this so beautifully. He actually said this, because I'm glad you've come to him. We humans should get used to the idea that we're no longer mysterious souls. We're now hackable animals. Hackable animals. Everybody knows what being hacked means now. And once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. I just put that in for our listeners as you go on with your interactions with this man.
That's a typical Harari remark. And he wrote two major best-selling books, one called Sapiens, Homo sapiens, human beings, and the other, Homo Deus. And it's with that second book that I interact a great deal, because it has huge influence around the world. And what he's talking about in that book is re-engineering human beings and producing Homo Deus, spelt with a small d. He says, think of Greek gods, turning humans into gods, something way beyond their current capacities and so on. Now, I'm very interested in that. From a philosophical and from a biblical perspective, because that idea of humans becoming gods is a very old idea. And it's being revived in a very big way. Now, to make it precise, or more precise, Harari sees the 21st century as having two major agendas, according to him. The first is to, as he puts it, to solve the technical problem of physical death so that people may live forever. They can die, but they don't have to. And he says technical problems have technical solutions, and that's where we are with physical death. So that's number one. The second agenda item is to massively enhance human happiness. Humans want to be happy. So we got to do that. How are we going to do that? Re-engineering them from ground up, genetically, every other way. Drugs, etc., all kinds of different ways. Adding technology, implants, all kinds of things. Until we move the humans from the animal stage, which he believes happened through no plan or guidance. We, with our superior brain power, we'll turn them into superhumans. We'll turn them into little gods. And of course, then comes the massive range of speculation. If we do that, will they eventually take over? And so on and so forth. So that is transhumanism connected with artificial intelligence, connected with the idea of the superhuman. And people love the idea. And you probably know there are people, particularly in the USA, who've had their brains frozen after death to hope that one day they're going to be able to upload their contents onto some silicon-based thing that will endure forever. And that will give them some sense of immortality.